This extra morning video is uncensored and we are covering Russia's war crimes in Ukraine. And where I'll start here is Ukraine announced over the weekend that by Saturday it has completely recaptured Kyiv Oblast, which is the city of Kyiv and its surrounding regions. And while that was good news in many ways, it was also quickly tainted by reports and evidence of what Russia did there. And so as we've talked about before, we've seen looting, but there's also more and more evidence from the recently liberated regions that Russian soldiers looted pretty much anything that wasn't bolted down. Then you had claims that Russia left many of the cities that they controlled full of mines, with some saying that includes anti-personnel mines. And that's notable because they're pretty strictly prohibited by the Geneva Convention. However, every video that we saw with mines showed anti-vehicle mines. But it quickly became apparent that the looting, that was nothing, as Ukrainian troops retook Irpin, Hostomel, Bucha, and other suburbs of Kyiv, that things were just absolutely horrendous for the civilians left behind. With the biggest example of this seeming to be Bucha, where bodies line streets and mass graves have been found. Non-combatants have been found with their hands tied behind their backs, shot dead. And beyond the killings, women and children were also targeted with widespread rape and murder, with there now being fears that Russia is using rape as a weapon of war, which can have long-lasting effects even for survivors. And as one activist in the region put it, when a woman gets away, it looks like she's safe. She's far away from the guns and the man who raped her. But the trauma is a bomb inside her that follows her. The scale of what is happening now is heartbreaking. There are reports not only from Kyiv Oblast, but as far south as Mariupol that young girls, 13 and younger, have signs of being raped after arriving at hospitals with rectovaginal tears. And regardless of how someone died, it's a safe bet that they were left where they died or were buried in a mass grave. One such grave in Bucha at the local Orthodox church had to be made after the city's coroner couldn't handle any more bodies, claiming that his facility was a horror without electricity and refrigeration. Ukrainian officials are also still unsure of how many were killed, but according to a Facebook post of Ukraine's general prosecutor, at least 410 civilian bodies have been found so far. It's also expected that as more cities are liberated, more bodies will be found and similar crimes will have been found across Russian-occupied territories. Now, as far as Russia, they have denied targeting civilians, claiming that the corpses all over Bucha, quote, do not correspond to reality, which maybe would be believable if we're talking about one or two people shot and killed, but hundreds, including women and children. And so as news of these crimes drew, so did the condemnation. In an interview with CBS a day after the graves were found, Zelensky said, "This is genocide, the elimination of the whole nation and the people. We are citizens of Ukraine and we don't want to be subdued to the policy of the Russian Federation. This is the reason we are being destroyed and exterminated." Also going on to give a speech about the situation to Russia, saying, "Concentrated evil has come to our land. Murderers, torturers, rapists, looters, who call themselves the army, and who deserves only death after what they did. I want every mother of every Russian soldier to see the bodies of the killed people in Bucha, Irpin, and Hostomel. What did they do? Why were they killed? What did the man who was riding his bicycle down the street do? Why were ordinary civilians in an ordinary peaceful city tortured to death? Why were women strangled after the earrings were ripped out of their ears? How could women be raped in front of children? How could their bodies be desecrated even after death? What did the Ukrainian city of Bucha do to your Russia? Russian mothers. Even if you raised looters, how did they also become butchers?" With Zelensky also outlining a new prosecutor's office to investigate these war crimes and maintain a list of alleged Russian war criminals, with part of that plan including international partners to help investigate and keep those individuals accountable. Also outside of Ukraine, the reports from Bucha have led to increased calls for sanctions against Russia. Now it's unclear what further sanctions would be put in place, but some Biden administration officials have floated the possibility of secondary sanctions against nations that help Russia evade the current ones, with President Biden also having this to say this morning.
"You may remember I got criticized for calling Putin a war criminal. Well, the truth of the matter, you saw what happened in Bucha. This warrants him, he is a war criminal. But we have to gather the information. We have to continue to provide Ukraine with the weapons they need to continue the fight. And we have to gather all the detail so this can be have a war crime trial. This guy is brutal."
Which is a much more prudent statement than what I'm feeling right now, and that is that Putin and all the monsters he has set loose deserve some lead poisoning of the brain. But that's it for this video. Click here for more news, and I'll see you later on today's Philip DeFranco Show.